Now that Diddy's locked up and the truth is finally coming to light, we're about to dive deep into a world that many people never even dreamed of. I recently came across some shocking revelations on Reddit, and what I found was beyond anything I could have imagined. There was this eerie, disturbing map that detailed Diddy's vast network and his connections to some of the biggest athletes in the world. This wasn't just a casual partygoer list, it was a list that included some of the most famous names in sports, all intertwined in a tangled web of corruption and scandal. And let me tell you, what I uncovered is not just jaw-dropping, it's absolutely chilling. Today, we're not just scratching the surface. We're going to break it all down, every single athlete Diddy has been involved with, from his alleged victims to the athletes caught up in his illegal activities. And when I say athletes, I'm talking about basketball icons, football legends, and even his own flesh and blood, his son. By the time we're done with this deep dive, you may find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew about the music mogul. This isn't just about fame, money, or fortune. This is about power, unchecked, unregulated, and deeply corrupt. This is about control. And most disturbingly, this is about the ugly, toxic underbelly of Hollywood that people have been too afraid to expose. Today, we're shining a light on a side of Diddy and his world that most people have no idea even existed. You've probably heard the saying, "There's no party like a Diddy party." It's almost become a cultural catchphrase, right? But here's the kicker. While the world was busy glorifying his extravagant parties, no one was talking about the darkness that lurked just beneath the surface. Everyone was too busy admiring the glamour, the celebrities, the over-the-top celebrations. But behind the glitz, there were whispers about what really went on behind closed doors at these infamous parties. It's time to talk about what went on when the cameras were off and when the lights dimmed. Diddy didn't just hang around with rappers, actors, and fellow celebrities. No, his social circle was much wider than that. He surrounded himself with some of the biggest athletes in the world, basketball players, football stars, and athletes from every corner of the sports world. These were the people who didn't just admire Diddy from afar. They were the ones at his parties, the ones working for him, and in some cases they became active participants in the darker activities Diddy was allegedly involved in. As everything starts to unravel, we're learning just how deep these connections run, and trust me, it's a lot deeper than anyone could have imagined. Some of these athletes have been complicit. Some, sadly, have become victims. And many, especially as the charges against Diddy have gained more attention, are now scrambling to distance themselves from him as fast as they can. It's a mad dash for damage control, but let's be clear, there's no way to erase their involvement from history. By the time we break it all down, you'll be shocked by just how tangled up in this mess the entire entertainment and sports world really is. Before we get into the specifics of these athlete connections, let me give a quick rundown for those who might be new to this story or who haven't been following closely. Don't worry, I'm not going to rehash everything we already know about Diddy. We all know the basics, the public scandals, the ongoing court cases, the parties, the drama. But right now, let's focus on the most important thing: Diddy's behind bars. He's serving time, but that's not the only part of the story that we need to focus on. We're going deeper into the truth about those infamous parties of his. As we peel back the layers of this case, we're learning that some seriously dark, disturbing things happened at those parties, things that until now have been shrouded in secrecy. People are starting to speak out, and as the allegations and lawsuits mount, we're seeing just how far-reaching and devastating Diddy's actions truly were. What's even more disturbing is that many of these athletes and celebrities who were regulars at Diddy's events have stayed silent. They didn't speak out when it mattered most. They were there witnessing these things firsthand but didn't say a word. Some of them were likely victims themselves, too afraid to speak up or too deep into Diddy's world to break free. Others might have been willing participants, complicit in actions that went far beyond what anyone would consider acceptable. Now the question on everyone's mind is, why didn't anyone step in? Why did they stay silent all these years? How many people were hurt, manipulated, and taken advantage of because no one had the courage to speak up sooner? And why is it only now that the truth is starting to come to light? The reality is, Diddy built an empire not just on music, but on control, on exploit. In the people around him, he knew how to make connections, how to get people to work for him, and how to pull strings behind the scenes. But as his past catches up with him, the true scale of his actions is becoming impossible to ignore. It's time for the public to realize that the party wasn't all fun and games. Behind that smile, behind the flashy events, was a world of manipulation and darkness. The most frustrating part of this whole story, the silence from those who could have said something sooner, whether they were in on it or simply too afraid to come forward, it doesn't change the fact that countless people were affected by what happened behind the scenes. We've only begun to scratch the surface of what's really going on here, but as we dig deeper, the connections between Diddy and these athletes will become even more clear and more disturbing, so let's get into it. We're starting with someone who you may not have expected, Brendan Paul. His name might not ring a bell for most people, but his story is pivotal in understanding the larger picture of Diddy's world, a world that was far darker and more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. Brendan Paul was never a household name in sports, But his involvement with Diddy and the events that transpired around him have become central to understanding the deeper web of connections between Diddy and the world of athletes. Brendan Paul was a college basketball player at Syracuse University. He wasn't a standout star, not the kind of player you'd see in the spotlight, but he was good enough to make the team. He wasn't an NBA prospect, but his time at Syracuse marked the beginning of his journey into a world far more sinister than the basketball court. After graduation, Paul's path took an unexpected turn when he became one of Diddy's personal assistants. On the surface, it may have seemed like a dream job, working for one of the most powerful and influential figures in the entertainment industry. But for Paul, this would quickly turn into a nightmare. In one of the most jaw-dropping moments of this entire investigation, Paul was arrested at Miami International Airport while preparing to board a private jet with Diddy. This wasn't a random arrest. It was part of a much bigger operation that would soon reveal just how deep the corruption ran. Authorities, working alongside Homeland Security, searched Paul's bag and discovered a stash of drugs, cocaine and marijuana-laced candy. Both substances are serious felonies in Florida. But here's the kicker: Diddy wasn't arrested. No, Paul was the one who took the entire fall. While Diddy walked away scot-free, Paul was left to face the legal consequences alone and abandoned. This was the beginning of Diddy's pattern, a pattern of using people for his own gain and then discarding them when they were no longer of use. But this arrest wasn't just about a simple drug bust. It was the beginning of a much darker and more complicated story. This arrest was just the tip of the iceberg. A lawsuit filed by Diddy's former producer, Rodney Jones, brought even more chilling revelations to light. The lawsuit isn't just about drugs, it's about trafficking, abuse, and unimaginable exploitation. Jones has leveled serious accusations against Diddy, including sex trafficking and drug abuse, and the details within the court documents paint a horrifying picture. Brendan Paul wasn't just a personal assistant. He was allegedly involved in a much darker world, one where he acted as Diddy's mule, transporting drugs and weapons on Diddy's behalf. Worse still, the lawsuit claims that Paul provided money for sex workers at Diddy's request. But it doesn't stop there. According to witnesses, Paul and others close to Diddy were involved in even more disturbing activities. One witness recalls seeing Paul and other associates spiking bottles of champagne with ecstasy while partying on a yacht in the U.S. Virgin Islands. This wasn't just casual drug use or reckless behavior. It was part of a larger systemic operation that involved exploiting people, selling drugs, and abusing others. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a lifestyle built on control, power, and exploitation. And all of this was happening under the watchful eye of Diddy, the man at the center of it all. But the real shocker came when Brendan Paul later testified in Diddy's trial. Paul's testimony exposed even more disturbing truths about Diddy's behavior. He claimed that he had witnessed Diddy using drugs on multiple occasions. Not just once or twice, but regularly. Cocaine, ecstasy, ketamine, marijuana, you name it, Diddy was allegedly using it. And here's the kicker: Paul wasn't just a mule for Diddy. He was also a first-hand witness to Diddy's reckless and dangerous lifestyle. But when it all came crashing down, what happened to Paul? He was arrested, his life upended, while Diddy carried on without so much as a hiccup. Diddy didn't even look back. He didn't lift a finger to help Paul. When the situation got ugly, this tells you everything you need to know about Diddy's character. He used people for his own gain, and when they got caught in the crossfire, he left them to take the fall. Next, we move on to another shocking connection: Odell Beckham Jr., the NFL superstar. This is where things get even more wild. Allegations surfaced from a woman named Ashley Parkham, and her claims are absolutely chilling. Parkham accused Diddy in a lawsuit of gang raping her back in 2018, and she named two other well-known men in the accusation: Odell Beckham Jr. and comedian Dusky. Both Beckham and Dusky have vehemently denied these accusations. Beckham even took to social media to post a statement, saying he's covered by God and insisting that he knows who he is, while strongly denying any involvement in the alleged crime. But here's the thing: while the allegations are still under investigation, the very fact that they've been made public is deeply troubling. What exactly happened behind those closed doors? Did Diddy, Beckham, and Dusky really take part in what Parkham claims, or is there more to the story that we don't know yet? The truth is, we may never know for sure until all the facts come out, but the fact that these allegations are even out there raises so many questions. How many times have similar things happened behind the scenes in these high-profile circles? What really goes on in the world of celebrities, where power and influence are often used to cover up the darkest of actions? And if these men didn't do it, why are these allegations being made in the first place? The public's attention is now focused on what's going on behind closed doors, and the fact that these powerful names are involved makes the story all the more captivating and all the more unsettling. Diddy's empire was built on more than just music. It was built on a web of control, manipulation, and darkness that many people are just beginning to wake up to. The deeper we dig into his connections with athletes, the more we realize how far this web spreads and how much damage has been done. But the real bombshell came when a man filed a civil lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of sexually assaulting him during a 2022 party. This was no ordinary lawsuit. It wasn't just about allegations. It was about a specific, deeply disturbing moment in time. The shocking twist: the man claims that the assault only stopped because a professional athlete intervened. Yes, you heard that right. An athlete literally stepped in to stop Diddy from assaulting someone. This was a pivotal moment, not just because of the assault itself, but because of the athlete who intervened. For one thing, this reveals a disturbing level of violence that was happening at these parties, and the fact that it took someone else, an athlete no less, to step in and stop it from escalating shows just how toxic the environment really was. And yet we still don't know who this hero is. Their identity is being kept secret, and that's raising even more questions. Why are they being protected? Why has their name been hidden from the public? This athlete who took the extraordinary step of putting themselves at risk to stop a sexual assault is now at the center of a whirlwind. They could have stayed silent, they could have turned a blind eye like so many others did at these parties, but they chose to do the right thing. The fact that this athlete's identity is protected suggests a lot about the fear and dangers involved in Diddy's circle. It makes us wonder, how many other times has something like this happened at Diddy's parties? How many other victims were left unprotected, unable to speak out because the environment was too toxic or dangerous? How many other athletes, celebrities, and bystanders witnessed abuse and chose not to intervene? The fact that an athlete had to intervene in the first place is chilling in itself. It tells us that this kind of behavior wasn't an isolated incident. It was a part of the culture Diddy had fostered at these parties. A culture where abuse, exploitation, and manipulation were normalized behind closed doors. And if someone hadn't stepped in when they did, what would have happened to that victim? It raises so many questions about how many other people were in similar situations. How many were silenced or ignored because of their position in the celebrity world, too scared to speak up or unable to escape? This one act of heroism, the athlete stepping in, is a reminder of how dangerous Diddy's world was and still is. The fact that we don't even know who this athlete is just speaks to the lasting fear and control that Diddy exerted over people in his orbit. The silence and secrecy surrounding this intervention tells its own horrifying story. Now let's talk about Diddy's son, Justin Combs. Justin's name has come up before in connection with his father, but the allegations now surrounding him are some of the most troubling yet. Justin, a former LA football player, is facing serious legal challenges. In 2025, a woman filed a lawsuit accusing Justin of being involved in the trafficking and abuse of a woman, allegations shockingly similar to the ones against his father. As these charges come to light, the public is left wondering, how did this happen? Did Diddy's actions and behavior influence his son? Is this what Justin grew up seeing as normal? Did he witness the manipulation and control Diddy wielded over people, and did that shape his own actions? It's heartbreaking to think that in some ways the toxic patterns that Diddy built his empire on could have been passed down to his son. The idea that the next generation could be so deeply affected by the unhealthy environment they were raised in isn't just tragic, it's a devastating reality for many families caught in similar cycles. Justin, like his father, is facing allegations that bring into question his moral compass and the values he learned growing up. Did he witness firsthand the way his father treated others and come to see that behavior as acceptable? It's a tough question and one that doesn't have a clear answer, but it's a question that echoes through the entire narrative. How much of Diddy's behavior rubbed off on his son? How much did Justin internalize the lessons his father taught him, consciously or unconsciously? This isn't just about one person. It's about a pattern of behavior that has the potential to repeat itself, passed down from father to son. And while Justin hasn't been convicted, the fact that these allegations exist only adds another layer of complexity to this unfolding tragedy. It's a reminder that toxic behavior can easily become normalized in environments where power and control are prioritized over everything else. And if Justin is indeed involved in the same kinds of actions as his father, it paints a disturbing picture of how power, abuse, and manipulation can affect generations. As we continue to untangle this web of Diddy's connections, we can't ignore the big names that have been tied to him over the years. One of the most prominent figures in Diddy's orbit was LeBron James, and the two were inseparable for years. They were photographed together at NBA All-Star games, at parties, at charity events. Their friendship seemed unbreakable. LeBron even publicly praised Diddy's legendary parties, saying, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party." For many fans, this was a symbol of their strong bond, a relationship that represented two icons at the top of their game. But now everything has changed. With the truth about Diddy's actions coming to light, LeBron has distanced himself from the mogul faster than you can blink. LeBron unfollowed Diddy on social media, stopped appearing with him at events, and essentially acted as though their 20-year friendship never existed. It's understandable given LeBron's status as a global icon with a brand worth billions. His career, image, and reputation are worth far too much to be tied to Diddy's growing list of accusations. But still, the timing of his decision is telling. It raises even more questions. What did LeBron know? What did he witness behind the scenes at those parties? Did he ignore the darker side of Diddy's world for years, or was he genuinely unaware? The fact that LeBron distanced himself so quickly after the allegations surfaced only adds to the mystery. LeBron has always been seen as a man of integrity, someone who stands up for what's right. But the fact that he cut ties with Diddy so swiftly makes it seem like he's trying to protect his own image, and who could blame him? The public's perception of him is priceless. But this leaves us wondering, what did he see at those parties? Was he ever a witness to the abuse and chaos that went on behind closed doors? Did he choose to turn a blind eye, or was he just too deep in the celebrity bubble to see the truth? The way LeBron distanced himself, almost as if trying to erase the 20 years of their friendship, speaks volumes about how much he wants to protect his own brand, and the questions that now surround his involvement in Diddy's world. For the fans who grew up watching LeBron and Diddy together, the rapid unraveling of their friendship is heartbreaking. But it's also a reflection of a larger truth. When the truth comes to light, even the most powerful relationships can crumble. And as LeBron turns his back on Diddy, the public is left wondering, what does he know that we do? Why did he walk away so quickly? What was happening behind the scenes that made him choose his image over a lifelong friendship? Lastly, let's address the most controversial connection, Dwayne Wade. Wade, a basketball Hall of Famer and an NBA legend, is someone whose name holds tremendous weight in the sports world. His career has been marked by exceptional skill, leadership, and respect on and off the court. He's known for his contributions to the game, his work with charity, and his public persona as a family man. So when it comes to his connection with Diddy, it raises more than a few eyebrows. Wade and Diddy were very close. Their bond was well known in the public eye. They were seen together at various events, NBA All-Star games, and even parties hosted by Diddy himself. There was a certain camaraderie between them, almost like a mentorship, where Wade was not only a close friend but also a figure who seemed to look up to Diddy in many ways. But here's where things get complicated. Recently, some rumors have begun to surface, rumors that suggest their relationship may have gone far beyond friendship. These whispers claim that Diddy and Wade may have shared a sexual relationship. Now, let me be clear from the start, there's no solid evidence to support these allegations. They are just that, rumors and speculation. There is no concrete proof to back up these claims. But the fact that such rumors even exist speaks volumes about the kind of atmosphere that Diddy created around him. This is not just about celebrity friendships or the public spotlight. These are whispers that indicate a much darker, more complex environment than most people could have imagined. Let's take a moment to think about the culture that Diddy built around him. His parties, his events, his entire world, it was all about power, control, and influence. In this environment where boundaries seemed to blur and where secrets were kept under tight wraps, relationships of all kinds, personal, professional, and otherwise, took on a completely different dynamic. This wasn't just a world of fun and games. No, this was a world where the lines between right and wrong, between friendship and exploitation, could be easily crossed. And when you're in this kind of world, where everything is centered around your own personal desires and needs, it's easy to see how relationships could become complicated or even toxic. The rumors about Diddy and Wade are not just about what could or could not have happened between them. They reflect a larger, more sinister pattern. The fact that such rumors even exist points to the environment Diddy created, a culture where nothing was off limits, where relationships and power dynamics were often manipulated to fit his desires. And while there is no proof of any inappropriate behavior between Diddy and Wade, the fact that these kinds of rumors are circulating paints a picture of the kind of atmosphere Diddy fostered around him. A world where power, influence, and control were the true currency, and where the cost of being close to Diddy was much higher than anyone realized. This kind of speculation, these rumors, are not just casual gossip. They are a direct reflection of the culture of secrecy, manipulation, and power that Diddy built. It's not just about one person or one relationship. It's about the broader implications of what it means to be a part of Diddy's world. And the fact that people like Wade, who were once his close friends and allies, are now tied to this narrative raises some uncomfortable questions. What did they know? What did they see? What went on behind the closed doors of those infamous parties? Did they truly not understand the consequences of being in such a toxic environment, or were they aware of what was happening but chose to turn a blind eye? So there you have it. The web of Diddy's connections with athletes is far more complex and disturbing than most people could have imagined. We've seen names like Diddy's former assistant Odell Beckham Jr., and now Dwayne Wade, all tied to this narrative, some through rumors, some through solid allegations, but all part of a story that's much bigger than anyone initially realized. But what's even more shocking is the ripple effect these connections have had on their careers, reputations, and personal lives. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these connections shocked you the most? Do you think LeBron and Wade knew more than they're letting on? Do you believe the rumors about Wade and Diddy? Is it possible that these rumors are just that, rumors, or is there more truth to them than we're being told? What about the unnamed athlete who stopped the assault at the 2022 party? Will we ever find out who they are? Could they be the key to understanding how deep this web really goes? Is there more we haven't uncovered yet? These questions are still hanging in the air and they demand answers. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have an honest, open conversation about what's really going on behind the scenes. We've only scratched the surface and there's so much more to unpack. As the story continues to unfold, we'll have even more details, more connections, and more shocking revelations. So stay tuned because I'll be back with more updates as this continues to develop. The truth is still coming out and we're just getting started. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.